never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Fine.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is a Wednesday, so of course that means it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And I feel like I have not done a top 10 countdown about sports or wrestling in a while, because I did 3 or 4 top 10 countdowns that were about Halloween, and then last week I did one about Christmas. So I felt like this week it was time to venture back into the world of sports. And if you follow the channel, you know I did a top 10 countdown similar to the one that I'm going to do today back, I believe, sometime during the summer when it was right smack dab in the middle of Major League Baseball season, and it was top 10 current Major League Baseball players. And the NBA season started 3 weeks ago last night, so we are right smack dab in the middle of the NBA season, so I figured I would do top 10 NBA players as of right now. And I always try my best to focus on professional sports when I do top 10 right now players, whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, only because in any sport you look at, whether it's baseball, football, or basketball, 95%, if not more, of the collegiate players never make it to the professionals. And a lot of times, since that's the case, when players come through the collegiate ranks, they're really, really good, and then when they get to the professionals, they don't make it, and people always think, oh, they're flops, or oh, they were overrated, or things like that, and that's just not the case. 95% of the time, it's just the fact that they're not good enough. It doesn't mean they were a flop. It doesn't mean they were overrated. You can be a great college player in whatever sport you play, but just not be good enough to be a professional. It doesn't mean you're not good. It just means you're not good enough to be a professional. So I figure it's best to stick with the professionals when you're doing top 10 right now players, because you really truly don't know how good somebody is until they make it to the professionals, if they make it to the pros in whatever sport they play. Any thoughts on this, as always, please feel free to let me know. Number 10 is Trae Young. Of course, he plays for the Atlanta Hawks. And you'll notice as I go along on this countdown that it's not all one position. I pretty much have all 5 starting positions in basketball in this countdown. Number 9, Joel Embiid. Number 8, Devin Booker. Number 7, Damian Lillard. And number 6, Ja Morant. Before we talk about the top 5, let's recap 10 through 6 real quick. This is the top 10 NBA players as of right now, according to me. And I know a lot of people prefer my top 10 countdowns that are strictly my personal opinion, but sometimes I give my opinion and sometimes it's articles that I read. This week's countdown top 10 NBA players right now is actually all strictly my opinion, and you can ask 100 different NBA fans who their current top 10 players are, and some will have the same people I have, but different orders, and some will have different people. Now, there's probably 3 or 4 guys, maybe the top 5 guys that I'm about to get into would be on everybody's list, just in different order. But I'm sure not everybody would have the same 10 guys. But number 5 is Stephen Curry. Number 4, LeBron James. Number 3, Luka Doncic. Number 2, Kevin Durant. And number 1 is Giannis. I think it's clear that Giannis is the best player in the NBA. The Bucks were the only undefeated team in the NBA for a long time. They finally lost their first game of the season. I believe it was Monday night. There were no NBA games yesterday at all. The Bucks finally lost their first game either Sunday or Monday. I believe it was Monday night. But to me, it's clear that Giannis is the best player in the NBA, and it's not even close. He's the most dominant force the NBA's had in a long time. There's a couple of guys I left off the list for various reasons. One of the guys plays for my team, the New Orleans Pelicans, and that's Brandon Ingram. Great name, by the way. When your mama names you Brandon, she really loves you. But Brandon Ingram is a great player, a phenomenal player, but I don't think he's top 10. Is he top 20? Probably. Maybe even top 15, but he's not top 10. And I know when it comes to the NBA, a lot of people like to call every great player a superstar. That's the most overused word in the NBA. Every good player is a superstar, and that's not the case. You can be a good player and not be a superstar. You can be a great player and not be a superstar. Brandon Ingram's a great player, but he might even be a star, but he's not close to being a superstar. And then his teammate, who also plays for my New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Williamson. And Zion doesn't make the list because, for one, he has to prove to me he can stay healthy for a long period of time, because I don't care how good you are. If you're not on the court, you're useless. So he's got to show me he can be healthy for a long period of time. And he also needs to either shoot threes better or make his teammates better. And I know I've said before that Giannis can't really shoot threes that good. He can't. He's gotten better, but he's still not great at it. But he makes his teammates better, which is part of the game. As long as you make everybody around you better, you're fine. That's one of the key elements to being a superstar. You have to make your teammates better. Zion Williamson does not. I left James Harden off the list because James Harden's the most overrated player in the NBA today. I was having a discussion with some wrestlers a few weeks backstage before a show, and they were discussing James Harden. One of them likes him, one of them don't, and I told the one that likes him he's the most overrated player in basketball. He cannot shoot threes at all unless he shoots 30 a game. Then, of course, he's going to make some because he shot enough of them. But all James Harden does is drive to the foul line, get fouled, go to the line. Drive the lane, get fouled, go to the line. Drive the lane again, get fouled, go to the line. 25 years ago, he couldn't do that because he would drive the lane against the wrong person and get smacked in the mouth, and that would have been the end of it. If he would have played back in the 90s, James Harden would probably average about 8 points and 10 rebounds a game. But this day and time, basketball's changed so much. If somebody farts on you, they get called for a foul. So he makes a living scoring 30 points a game, and 20 of them come from the free throw line. that's not a great basketball player. That's taking advantage of the way the rules have changed, which is smart, but it does not make you a great basketball player. So James Harden is off the list because he's overrated, and Brandon Ingram's off the list because he's just not quite top 10, and Zion Williamson's off the list because he can't stay healthy. So that is my top 10 personal opinion of the best NBA players right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And of course, the new college football playoff poll came out last night. If you have any early thoughts on that, please feel free to let me know. I'll talk about it later on this week when we preview some of the big games coming up this weekend in the world of college football. For now, let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What did the seal with one fin say to the shark? If seal is broken, do not consume. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.